Good afternoon. You're still watching Parliament television. Bells are ringing. The quorum hasn't yet been formed. It is a requirement that 1/3 of members of Parliament must be present in the House for any business to transact. And so once the quorum is formed, we expect business of the House to resume. And at the time, Mr. Second Deputy Speaker suspended business at 1640 hours for a 20-minute health break. On the floor of the House was Solowezi East Member of Parliament, Mr. Alex Katakwe, posing a question to the Minister of Finance and National Planning. This is in line to a question that Mpika Member of Parliament, Mr. Francis Kapyanga, has directed to the Minister of Finance and National Planning, where he wanted to find out whether the government is aware that the decision by the Zambia Public Procurement Authority to request all contractors to bid for Constituency Development Fund CDF contracts on the EGP platform is disadvantaging local contractors who are domiciled within each constituency, as they can no longer be prioritized in acquiring CDF contract as per presidential directive. And in part B of the question, he wanted to find out, if so, what measures are being taken to ensure that the contractors that are domiciled within each constituency are prioritized in the awarding of CDF contracts. And so once the quorum is formed, we expect Solowezi East Member of Parliament, Mr. Alex Katakwe, to continue posing his question to the Minister of Finance and National Planning.
On the order paper for today, remember we had 10 questions, but 2 questions did elapse as members were not present in the House. So we have 7 questions. 6 questions have already been considered, and the last one, which is under consideration, my colleague Matimba has just given the details. So we still similar to have the quorum. According to the standard practice, there must be 1/3 members of Parliament in the House in order for any business to be transacted. So we urge you to keep it locked right here on Parliament television, the station that brings Parliament closer to you.
Yes, Joe, and earlier on when business resumed at 14:30, Mr. Second Deputy Speaker did recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Mapalo Hope School in Lusaka District. And so Mr. Second Deputy Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
Yes, indeed. So that was the announcement that the Second Deputy Speaker did announce. So we urge you to follow the proceedings either on Parliament Radio or visit the National Assembly Facebook page, get to like it, and you'll be able to follow the proceedings.
So bells are still ringing. It is a requirement that 1/3 of members of Parliament must be present in the House for any business to transact. So once the quorum is formed, we expect business of the House to resume. And as we earlier mentioned, to say on the order paper, the House has so far considered 7 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80, and 2 questions for oral answer.
When business was suspended, the House was considering question number 45 on the order paper, asked by the Honorable Member from Pika, and the Honorable Member for Solowezi East was asking a supplementary question. May the Honorable Member continue?
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Before we just broke for health break, I was just giving an example for the disadvantages of EGP for rural constituencies, where the constituency office had an issue to do with repair works, and it just costed, it needed just about 5,000 to 10,000. But because of this EGP, up to now, 1 year, 5 months down the line, no repairs have been done in the office. Why? Because somebody from Livingstone got this tender on EGP, but can't just go to Mushindamo, traveling thousands of kilometers just to go for a 10,000. So my question, Minister, is do you have any plans to reconsider the EGP platform so that certain threshold can be set in order to enable the rural constituency contractors to access these funds so that they are able to be capacitated and also not just empowered? Any plans, Minister? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. As said, I think we are open to discussing. We may even have what we call a town hall meeting where honorable members can meet and present their issues, and we try and resolve them. So that's the promise that I can give. We can organize a forum where we can discuss these issues and chart the way forward. Thank you.
The honorable member from Pika.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, once again for this opportunity. Honorable Minister, we are under load shedding due to the drought. As a result, mortuaries and other health facilities are affected. We may have money within the parameters of CDF, like in our case in Mpika, to purchase solar equipment to power the mortuary and other departments within our health facilities. But because of the length procedure under the EGP platform, it has taken more than 2 months now for us to execute the works. I would like to find out from the Honorable Minister. CDF is part of the decentralization policy, and sending bid documents back to Lusaka under the EGP is not part of the decentralization. Can't the same system be domesticated under the local authorities? Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think these questions are just the same. So, all I've said is that if there are issues that I seem to be hearing, we can sit around, we can create a forum where we can sit around, hear the issues, see the common ones, and find the solution to the way forward. So, I think the questions are just coming back in the same, different ways, but the answer remains the same. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Kafinsa.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister, in all his responses, is acknowledging that there's a problem. And I think in all his responses, the Minister is indicating that there is need to have a meeting. But there's something that we can do urgently, Mr. Speaker, to resolve this problem. Is it possible, Minister of Finance, that the issue that we are discussing today can be resolved through having two systems running? The local manual system, which is supposed to accommodate our local people, and this EGP, the electronic procurement platform, which is supposed to allow other people to participate, because clearly the law prescribes. We are dealing with the Public Finance Management Act, we are dealing with the Zambia Public Procurement Act, and we are dealing with the CDF Act. So is it possible, Minister of Finance, that we can have these systems running together? People in Solwezi East should be able to go and submit their quotations to the council the way it used to be in the past. So can we have these systems running together? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's talk first so that we have a proper solution rather than introduce new elements that may have their own complications. So let's talk, let's hear the issues, let's find the solution, and then we close the line. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Lundazi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving a chance to the people of Lundazi to make a follow-up question to the Honorable Minister of Finance. Honorable Minister, programs are supposed to benefit the locals. That is what CDF is meant to do. By you putting these roadblocks, no wonder people, they say CDF is a scam. Why do you require a meeting? No, I know what I'm talking about. If the local people in my constituency do not benefit, how are they going to glorify the program? Get me right.
Honorable Member for Lundas.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Wait, let me. Order. Honorable Member of Lundazi, let's avoid misinforming the public. I remember I was the one presiding where you were commending the projects that you've done under CDF. And those projects are in your constituency. And then how do you turn around to mislead the public? Ensure that whatever you say on the floor, you should be factual. Because you were on the floor of the House at some point, appreciating what you have done. Now you turn around, you say it's a scam, and the people are listening. I think he withdraw the word scam. May you withdraw the word scam, Honorable Member?
Mr. Speaker, I will say this in Tumbuka, and then I'll translate. Sangani vandu valawokhala kulundazi wosebezako ya inchito na kuti vapokeko ndalama za CDF vamanyenge yayi kuti iyi CDF iliko vatenge mvaboza mvautesi. What I'm trying to say, if the locals from my community do not participate in these projects, they do not get any money out of it, they will not believe that this program is real. That is what I was trying to say. Now, because you have asked me to withdraw, I withdraw the word so that I just satisfy you. But that is not the idea. The idea here is, Honorable Minister of Finance, what are you going to do to ensure that people do not doubt CDF that it is working by removing this roadblock which you have put as Minister of Finance? I submit, Honorable Minister.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to ensure that people do not doubt CDF, the first thing to be done is those who want to deliberately frustrate CDF must be corrected. Because there are some people, even when there are so many good things coming out of CDF, when it suits them, they will stand on the ante and say CDF is achieving nothing. This is why, for example, it had become necessary for district commissioners to be part of CDF, because in the absence of that, some members of parliament want to create an impression that CDF is impossible. I've said so many times here today, this afternoon, that if there are problems, come, let's sit, let's discuss. But for you now to turn around and say, people may start doubting whether CDF is real or not, that is puzzling to me. By the way, Honorable, today we signed the Chipata, Lundazi, Magodi. I was hoping that as you stood up, you would congratulate the government, but you are silent. So it takes me, Mr. Speaker, It is to take me now to say to the people of Lundazi, the people of Magodi, that the government has worked very hard to attract the American people to organize more than $400 million to do the road from Chipata, Lundazi, and Magodi. And now I must thank His Excellency the President on behalf of the people of Lundazi to say, Mr. President, well done. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Order. The Honorable Member for Lukasha. The Honorable Member for Lukasha. If he's not there, the Honorable Member for Nakonde.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Really, this EGP platform is not benefiting the locals because, Mr. Speaker, even us in Nakonde, we wanted to procure some solar system for the mortuary. Up to now, the system was declined, and you are there waiting for a meeting. Mr. Speaker, local authorities, our authorities on its own, why can't you just, Mr. Minister, why can't you just start, or the locals start procuring on its own without being subjected to this Public Procurement Act? Mr. Speaker, I submit.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, public procurements must be undertaken in line with what the law says. Because if you don't do that, the end result is at some point in the future, people will get in trouble with the law. So we must follow the law. If there are procedural issues because of EGP, I've said over and over, come, let's talk. But that is not to say that the doors are now being opened for anyone to procure in any manner they want outside the law. No. And in fact, this protects most of us, because if you go outside the law, unfortunately, the law is going to visit you one time or another. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you.
Her Honor the Vice President, adjournment.
I beg to move, Mr. Speaker, that the House do now adjourn.
The question is that the House do now adjourn. Any debate, any objection? The question is agreed to. The House? The House is now adjourned.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for still being with us on Parliament Television. The House has just adjourned until next week, and so just now we go straight and look at business that has been considered on the floor of the House from the time business resumed at 14:30 hours.
So when our business resumed according 30 hours today, 17th of October 2024, Mr. Speaker did make one announcement in which he recognized the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Apollo Hope School in Lusaka district. And on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, Mr. Speaker did welcome the visitors to the National Assembly.
After that announcement, the House went on to consider 8 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80, and 2 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80 lapsed. These are questions 36 and question number 38, which was supposed to come from Mr. Sande Chanda Kanchiwia, Member of Parliament, and question number 36 was supposed to come from Luponsoshi, Member of Parliament, Mr. Emmanuel Musonde. So these 2 questions lapsed because the members of Parliament were not present in the House. So just now we look at some of the questions that have been considered on the floor of the House. Question number 37 did come from Kanyama, Member of Parliament, Mr. Monti Chinkuli, and he directed his question to the Minister of Finance and National Planning, where he wanted to find out when the government will pay terminal benefits to the 12 former employees of the Zambia Pork Products Limited, whose employment was terminated in 2001 following the privatization of the company. And the Minister of Finance and National Planning did say that the government has not established the record of the 12 employees, and has since asked the Member of Parliament for Kanyama to furnish the ministry with the details.
And question 39 did come from Mr. Wesley Kolala, who is a Lufuvu constituency Member of Parliament. He wanted to find out from the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development what measures the government is taking to permanently resolve the perennial flooding problem during the rain season in Lusaka district. And the minister did outline some of the measures which include developing 500 meters drainage. Others include developing 4 kilometers drainage along Kalusha Walia Road in Kanyama district, and also developing 400 meters water drainage system within the constituency.
Another question, this is question number 40, came from Masaiti, Member of Parliament, Mr. Michael Katambo, and he directed this question to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. He wanted to find out when the National Land Titling Program commenced, and the acting minister did respond, and he did say that the program commenced in September 2020. In part B of the question, he wanted to find out how many title deeds under the program had been issued from inception to April 2024. And the acting minister did say that 113,470 title deeds were issued from inception to April 2024. In part C of the question, he wanted to find out whether there are any plans to extend the program to all the 156 parliamentary constituencies, and the acting minister did say that yes, there are plans to extend the program to all the 156 constituencies. In the other part of the question, he wanted to find out whether there are any plans to revise the titling fees so as to make them affordable, and the acting Minister of Lands and Natural Resources did say that yes, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has plans to revise the titling fees so as to make them affordable.
Mr. Kaliye Mandandi, who is a Sioma constituency Member of Parliament, did pose a question to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. He wanted to find out in A, whether the government has any plans to rehabilitate Nangwesh government guest house in Sioma district. And the minister in response did state that government has got no immediate plans to rehabilitate Nangwesh government guest house in Sioma district. And in answering part B, which was when the plans will be implemented, the minister did say that government is not ready. On the estimated cost of rehabilitation, the minister did say that this will be known once the project is approved. And if there are no such plans, why? The minister did say that it can be rehabilitated in its current state because the structure is weak.
Lukasha, Member of Parliament, Mr. George Chisanga, directed question number 42 to the Minister of Education, where he wanted to find out a question in 5 parts. Why the construction of Ntupa University in Lukasha parliamentary constituency has stalled, and the acting Minister of Education did respond that the construction has stalled because financing agreement was cancelled due to fiscal challenges. And in part B of the question, the Member of Parliament for Lukasha wanted to find out when the works will resume, and the acting minister did say that the works will resume once the new contract is signed. And in the other part of the question, he wanted to find out what the estimated cost of the project is, and the acting Minister of Education did say that the cost of the project will be determined after assessment. In part D of the question, he wanted to find out what the time frame for the completion of the project is, and the acting minister did say that the time frame will be established once need assessment is conducted. In the last part of the question, he wanted to find out whether the government will maintain the same contractor for the remaining works, and the acting minister did say that this will be known once the process for re-engaging the contractor is concluded.
Question 43 did come from Mr. Christopher Kangombe, Kamfinsa Member of Parliament, who did pose a question to the Minister of Finance and National Planning. He wanted to find out how much revenue in taxes was raised from the mining sector in 2022 and in 2023. So the Minister did say that in 2022, 22.62 billion kwacha was realized, while 13.1 billion kwacha was realized in the year 2023. And in answering part B, which was how the revenue was used to improve the performance of the Zambian kwacha during the same period, we did hear the minister state that the money was receipted in United States dollars for various investment such as agriculture.
Another question, this is question number 45, did come from Babala, Member of Parliament, Mr. Joseph Musanje, and he directed this question to the Minister of Health. He wanted to find out when the government will replace the non-functional mortuary unit at Macha Mission Hospital in Babala parliamentary constituency, and the minister did say that government will procure mortuary wings in 2025, and Macha Mission Hospital in Babala parliamentary constituency is going to benefit from this procurement.
And the last question, which is question 45, did come from Mr. Francis Kampianga, Speaker, Member of Parliament. He wanted to find out from the Minister of Finance and National Planning whether the government is aware that the decision by the Zambia Public Procurement Authority to request all contractors to bid for Constituency Development Fund CDF contracts on the EGP platform is disadvantaging local contractors who are domiciled within each constituency, as they can no longer be prioritized in acquiring CDF contracts as per presidential directive. And in B, if so, what are the measures are being taken to ensure that the contractors that are domiciled within each constituency are prioritized in the awarding of CDF contracts? And one of the measures, the minister did say that one of the measures include ensuring that local authorities adhere to the Zambia public procurement guidelines.
And yes, Joe, so that's business that has been considered on the floor of the House today, Thursday, 17th October 2024. And so from all of us here, it's a goodbye. Keep watching Parliament Television and have a blessed long weekend.